Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
The report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry comprises more than 1,000 pages, and in this report it is clearly mentioned how a mammoth loss had taken place. Now, Minister of International Trade Malik Samarawikrama, in an interview to the newspaper Ceylon today, says the government has not lost a red cent from the bond transactions. Now, Minister Malik Samarawikrama was questioned by the Presidential Commission when he testified before them, and he was mainly questioned on the breakfast meeting that took place on the 26th of February 2015, a day before the controversial bond issue. Now, when he was questioned, the minister said that he went there because an unaccounted RDA payment of 15 billion rupees was discovered from work for the previous administration, and that was why they went to the central bank. However, SR Artigala, the Deputy Secretary of the Treasury, said there was no such request for additional fund raising. Now, Minister Malik Samarawikrama was the chairman of the United National Party back then, and he was not elected at all. Now, in this article, right behind me, the minister claims there are 12 billion rupees worth of assets belonging to Perpetual Treasuries Limited, which have been blocked by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. However, in a press statement on the 6th of July 2017, the Central Bank says that they suspended the business activities of Perpetual Treasuries Limited and nothing more. Now today, we received a letter from the Free Trade Zones and General Services Employees Union, which they have addressed to the President. In this letter, they say, a major part of the profits of Perpetual Treasuries Limited were made by means of transactions where Perpetual Treasuries Limited sold treasury bonds to the EPF and then bought back those treasury bonds at a lower price and resold them back to the EPF and again bought them back from the EPF at a lower price. Now, in this extensive letter, they go on to say that the similar situation surrounded the EPF when it came to the stock market as well. Now, MPs and public servants and everyone else connected to the government, once they retire, they get a pension. But we in the private sector, we do not get a pension. What we get is our EPF, that is our hard-earned money. However, according to what the minister says, does this fit his statement of that the government has not lost a red cent? Now, both the minister and the Prime Minister imply that if all is settled, there is no loss. Everything is okay. Let's take it in this way. Let's say you have a three-wheeler and you hire it out for 300 rupees a day. But a week later, it's stolen, and thereafter, it's found. Now, is justice served just because the three-wheeler is found and because the thief is let go? Shouldn't the thief pay for his crimes in a court of law, and shouldn't he be sentenced and the loss that I recovered from losing my three-wheeler for several days be recovered from that person? This is a serious question. Now, Professor Rajuva Vijay Singha, a very seasoned diplomat, had a very clarifying answer to this question, and he made this statement today.
Everyone understands there is a fraud here. The chairman of the UNP, Honorable Malik Samarawikrama, has said today that the government has not lost 1 cent because of the bond transaction. We do not know if this minister does not understand English or whether he has an issue comprehending the economics behind this, or if he understands anything for that matter. But he is the Prime Minister's closest confidant. In the meantime, his boss is saying, we have lost a lot of money, but we can recover that money from Perpetual Treasuries. They froze the money. When did they do this? They did it after the company earned all the money and after they gifted Ravi Karunanayake a beautiful house. They did it 1.5 years after the scam happened. You might recall, when this scam happened, I resigned from my ministerial portfolio but was on the side of the ruling party. After this scam was exposed, I crossed over. I felt back then that the Prime Minister was lying. I do not think Ranil earned money out of this for his personal benefit, but I cannot say the same about the others. Ranil did this for the party, because it is the party which pays for everything in his life. So they did not have a reason to earn money for their personal benefit. When Ravi Karunanayake lied and money was given to Arjuna Mahendran and Arjuna Aloysius, no one spoke a word. Everyone in the UNP said, we knew there was a mistake, we will blame it all on Ravi. But even Ravi took his share as well. They said they did not do anything wrong, and even if they did, they were unaware of it. It is wrong that a group which was able to carry out such a scam still remains in the government. At least now, the president should be strong and change the prime minister.
මේ වගේ ප්‍රෝඩාවක් කරපු කට්ටිය තවම ආණ්ඩුවේ ඉන්න එක වැරදි. ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා ශක්තිමත් වෙලා දැන්වත් අගමැති වෙනස් කරන්න ඕනේ.
Committing theft, concealing theft and aiding theft are all considered as serious crimes in Sri Lanka. Now the people called on the authorities to expose fraud and corruption, and thereafter they called on to expose those involved in fraud and corruption and to enforce the law on these individuals who have cost the nation. Now while the ministers go on to say that no loss has happened, the report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry clearly says there is a loss. Moving on, the World Economic Forum is taking place in Davos, Switzerland, where world leaders and the business elite are expected to meet together and discuss serious issues on the world economy. Our neighbor India has sent its Prime Minister Narendra Modi for this all-important forum. Canada has sent its Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. But however, in Sri Lanka, it is reported that Minister Malik Samaravikrama is heading to Davos. Now, he had gone there previously, and this was reported on the newspapers as well, where he had held discussions. Now, keep in mind, Mr. Malik Samaravikrama was never elected into office. Now, at a time when there are many who come forward and make very strong statements, like Harin Fernando and Sujiva Senasinghe, and there are others who are very loyal to the party from the very beginning, are making very strong statements, but who is going to represent the country at Davos in Switzerland? It is someone who was not elected at all, and this someone is going to represent the country at a global forum. Now, the Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade recently said Sri Lanka's exports in 2017 hit an all-time high of $11.4 billion. However, the governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has a different view.
The Daily FT quote in the ministry, which is headed by Malik Samaravikrama, says the exports of $11.4 billion was up 10% from 2016 and surpassed the previous best of $11.1 billion achieved in 2014. The sectors showing particularly strong year-on-year growth were tea with 20% and fisheries at 40%. Tea benefited from high prices and enhanced access to Middle Eastern countries, particularly Iran. Fisheries benefited from both the lifting of the EU ban in June 2016 and the GSP Plus concession in May 2017. However, speaking to the media yesterday, Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy was less self-congratulatory on the subject of Sri Lanka's 2017 export earnings. He spoke of the expansion of the trade deficit due to increase in imports of rice, coconuts and fuel, which were impacted by drought.
And so we had an increase in the trade deficit despite a noteworthy turnaround in export performance. You would have seen the papers today, there were screaming headlines, a record in exports for in 2017. I don't think it's anything to be proud about, this this achievement, because we're still way down as far as exports are concerned.
Now today, Gammad, the team visited the Matugama Ittapana Sri Saranankara Primary School, which is on the border of the Western Province. Now this is to declare open a new library for these students to use. Now, but in October last year, gale winds put down a tree right on the roof of this school building. Now, to our surprise, the roof of this building was in fact now a plastic sheet that was given to them by a non-governmental organization. Now, the donors of this library project, or who contributed to this cause, are from Korea. And let's have a listen to what they had to say, an important message to all of us.
We met in Sri Lanka. We decided to build this library to mark that special moment. Because a wedding would cost a fortune, we decided to utilize those funds for a better cause. That is why we were able to make the contribution via Gammadda. If you make a promise to someone, make sure you keep that promise. If you engage in an activity, do it as if it is your own.
코리아와 스리랑카와에게 야타 위지터야 사하 유터야 액티브나 라타 나뭇 에칼레 데마피안 다루안터 이겐와 지왓 웬네 플루안 라터 바와터 팟칼라 스리랑카와 에와게 라터 웨이 키얼라 아펙샤 칼라 아피 아우르드 띠악 게우너타 파세 떠너터 에무이 키얼라 호론드웰라 있네 마게 마하떠야 메헤마키우와 아우르드 띠악 야나코터 스리랑카와 아피터 랑웬느 베리 프라발라 라타 바와타 팟웨이.
While billions of public funds are being skimmed, the situation in Sri Lanka, especially in rural Sri Lanka, is very appalling. With that, we cross over to a short commercial break.